Uh, let's go a little bit more into the market right now. So on of the top 20 most expensive cars of all time, correct me if I'm wrong, but 16 are Ferraris.
Yeah. Imagine a pyramid like we have in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
On top of the pyramid, there is only room for one mark, and that is Ferrari. There's many other marks slightly behind, but they are not on top of the pyramid.
And the classic car market has been so strong in the past few years, even if with a natural contraction starting from 2015, I would say. But some buyers, we have seen that some buyers probably are not passionate collectors, but rather investors looking for profits, right? Do you think that this kind of speculation ruins the market somehow, or does it build it?
I don't think it's gonna ruin the market. Not at all. I think we need a little bit of both. We need passionate people. We need speculators as well. At the end of the day, it is a market. It is a business, and there has always been a lot of money involved with these expensive cars. Right from the beginning, when Ferrari began constructing these cars in 1947, 48, 49, the people that bought these cars were very wealthy men, noblemen in Italy, like Count Sturzi or like Count Marzotto or many others, some barons in Sicily, very, very wealthy people that were able to afford these cars. So right from the beginning, Ferrari was a luxury product.
Yeah.
So there is always a lot of money involved.
So how do you see the classic car market performing through this, let's say, difficult economic time?
Well, we shall see how it turns out. This year, 2020, of course, is a special year, but the whole world is affected. It will certainly affect the classic car market as well. On the other hand, I believe, especially for the big collectors, these people don't have to sell anything. Maybe there is even a good chance to find one of the rare cars at a better price now. Yeah. So it's all about opportunities.
Exactly. We'll go back to that later. But
okay.
What do you think about online auctions? Because it seems that right now it had to be popular because that was the only way to trade this type of cars. But do you think buyers also find value in detailed inspection report even more now?
That might be the case. Honestly, I'm a little skeptical about the online only auctions because I think sometime in the future we will have to go back to more public auctions where people can actually be in the room, do their bidding, check the cars and get the feeling, because if you don't do that, I'm not sure if I would buy a $1 million car without having been able to inspect the car before and just bidding on my smartphone or bidding on the screen. It's too much money involved. Yeah. I would be very skeptical, to be honest. For the moment, yes, it may work. But would anybody buy a 250 GTO for $60 million?
Without seeing it?
Without seeing it?
Yeah.
And everything online?
Yeah.
Being on your island or on your boat, that's all wonderful, but you don't know who else is bidding.
Yeah.
You want to be in the room and you want to feel is there somebody else that also is trying to get the car.
Yeah. And no, that's really interesting. I mean, the fact that online auction, like now they are so popular, but at the same time, people needs to see the car. That's yes. Like you said it right. I mean, if you have to invest 60 million, you want to see what you're buying. But at the same time,
even for smaller money.
Oh, absolutely. Even for 10 or 2. But do you think that the auction, as we know it, it's still the best way to trade these cars, this type of cars?
It depends on the car, the individual car. I'm not really sure if an auction is the right place to sell a 250 GTO or maybe a 250 Testarossa. For a more mundane 330 GTS Spider or maybe a 275 GTB4 or a Daytona, that's certainly the right place, yes, an auction. But as soon as we speak about a 10, 15, 20 or more $1 million car, these cars I think in the future will sell more privately. Maybe there will be 2 brokers involved, one by the seller and one by the buyer. So in the end it will be 4 people that will be involved. It will be a private treaty sale.
Or maybe one entity that can put buyer and seller together in the same time.
That can happen, yes.
Yeah. So let's go a little bit in the specific of the certain models, right? So for example, I always wondered why like a car like a 290mm not worth like a 250 GTO. Maybe this is the question of the questions, but
no, it's a very good question actually. We should not forget a 290mm is a real brutal race car that you can really only drive on a racetrack. And it takes quite an experienced driver. This is not something that everybody can drive. And you need a lot of space. I mean, you can drive it in Texas on a wide open road, but you would not want to do the Tour de France in France or the Mille Miglia in a 290. If you have a 250 GTO, this is an all-round car. You can use it to go to your office, but you can also race it on the weekend and then go back to the office on Monday morning. It's a dual-purpose car, and it really basically ticks all the boxes.
Wow.
So that's why a GTO is much more convenient and much more comfortable in a way, and you can still have a lot of fun, of course.
And what about the 410S or the 355?
Well, I mean, one of my favorites. One of my favorites would certainly be a 335S or a 315S, like the Mille Miglia winner.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. But again, these cars are so special and they're very tough and difficult to drive. And not everybody can do that. You really need a lot of experience and know-how to get well. Plus, these cars are super valuable, like a GTO, almost like a GTO.
Yeah.
But a GTO, at the end of the day, is more general. And I guess even your girlfriend can use it and go to the post office if she likes.
Yeah. But going back a little bit about the 250 LM, do you think that would reach the value of the GTO one day?
Well, the problem with the GTO is you basically pay a lot of money for 3 letters, the famous letters GTO, Gran Turismo Omologato.
Yeah.
On the 250 LM, they are rarer because they made only 32, whereas the GTO, they made 36. Still, the GTO is more prominent. It is the icon. It is a super important car, no doubt about it. It's a legend within the Ferrari world. Every average shop owner knows what a GTO is. Not everybody knows what the 250 LM is. Also, I have to say, personally, I prefer a 250 LM anytime over a GTO. Why is that? Because the 250 LM is the last Ferrari that won Le Mans, the 24 hours, in 1965.
Exactly, yeah, that's a pretty good point. And I think that the 275 GTB is one of the best, if not the best, Ferrari of the 60s. Would you agree?
Well, keep in mind the 275 GTB, in my opinion, it's more elegant, it's more beautiful than the GTO. And there's people that are saying a 275 GTB is the poor man's GTO. So if you can't afford,
I'm a poor man.
if you can't afford the GTO, why don't you buy a 275 GTB, 2-cam or 4-cam?
Yeah.
They're
4-cam better than 2-cam. What do you think?
Well, here we go into questions of purism. because the very early short nose two cams are the ones I like the most, because this is the initial design, the original design.
Yeah.
Later on they developed them into a long nose, and then they came the 4-cam. Some people want the real early ones, other people want the last ones. There's plenty of them.
Yeah. Is there a rare Ferrari you would like to see pop up in the market at some point? Like a car that has always been like hidden from the auctions, from the private sales?
I guess there will always be some cars that you can better sell privately rather than at an auction, especially rare competition cars that are so special that most people don't understand really what it is. Like a 121 LM perhaps, or a 118 LM, or maybe a SP car from the early 60s.
Do you see new blood or young people who care about these kind of cars? Or it's still like a very, like, I wouldn't want to say old, but mature audience, the type of customers that are looking for this?
Well, I mean, let's face it, we should not forget that most people that are 25, 30 years young normally don't have the means to purchase a $50 million car. So usually you're quite a bit older, like 50 or maybe 55, when you have built up a huge company, made a lot of money, and you're in the position to spend 50, 60, 70 million dollars for any big car. Normally you can't do that when you're just 25 years young.
Fair enough. Given your immersion in the vintage Ferrari world, right? Are you still get excited?
I'm very much excited every day.
When you find like a car, you're like, oh my God, I've never seen this, or oh my God, this is so special, because you must know them all, right?
I know a lot of them, the majority, but I would still travel to the other end of the world just to go and inspect one particular rare car that I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And there is a few out there, 2 or 3 that are still on my, should I say, wish list. I would jump in a plane any day and just go and have a look at it.
Before, when we were recording, Mr. Massini was telling me that sometimes he gets email about like someone asking for a car that is not particularly exciting, right? And your answer usually is like, maybe at 2 a.m. when I have 2 minutes, maybe I can look into that, right?
That is true, yes. Naturally, there's a big difference. Let's face it, the 208 GT4 Dino by Bertone is in a different league than a 375 Mille. It's not only a value question, it's also a rarity question, and the history, of course, is different.
What was your most memorable discovery? Like, you got to pick one.
Let me say it this way. I have a few projects that I've been working on, like barn finds, of which one is a very, very special and very rare car. I cannot reveal what it is, but let me just say, nobody has seen the car except me since 1954.
Oh my God.
The car still exists, and it's in a garage. It's hidden, and I will get it eventually. One day I will get it.
One day you'll get it. And we will be back to ask you what that car is.
Yeah.